everyone, back to our YouTube channel. It's Chris back with another Rumour Has It video where we're talking about players linked to the football club in the coming transfer window after Darren Niels's conversation regarding the finances and the lack of ability to spend. We're not expecting any big time signings this January window, but there may very well be some loan players. Now, the Saudi Arabian loan deals have often been in the background ever since that rule was passed through. Everyone's wondered when Newcastle are going to act and who they're possibly going to move for. And boy, have we been linked to a blast from the past in the last few days. Now, there might not even be any direct links here. I think it was actually something that came from Keith Downey just suggesting that Newcastle perhaps should be looking at Aleksander Mitrovic from Al Hilal over in Saudi Arabia. We all remember Mitro, played 3 years for Newcastle, 17 goals in 72 appearances, I think it is. Mark will have the stats up wonderfully in a second over my shoulder here. Then he went to Fulham. Obviously, Rafa didn't fancy him. He went to Fulham, and he grew up a fair bit at Fulham, to be fair. It's got to be said about Mitro. There's no ever doubt in his ability. Big, strong target man. I remember him scoring a good header against the Mackhams, scoring a great goal against Norwich in that famous 6-2 where Gini Wijnaldum got 4 goals. He always had that ability, Mitrovic, to get into the box, to rough up defenders, to be a goal threat. He was a little bit inconsistent, but the worst thing about him when he was at Newcastle was his mentality. He was just a bit of a fucking nutter, suffice to say. And throughout his career, Mitrovic has always had that little sparky side of him. 458 appearances, I think, in his career in total to date, 87 yellows and 6 red cards. So he is partial to getting in the mixer a fair bit, is Mitrovic. But he had calmed down a lot when he went to Fulham. He moved on. He grew up a bit. He scored goals, scored some brilliant goals, unbelievable seasons in the Championship. And then just before he left the Premier League, I think he was on 16 or 18 goals. He was leading the line, he was bossing games, his touch was better, his movement was better, his finishing was considerably better. He's got an unbelievable ratio for his country as well. 29 years old now, Mitro. It's hard to think he's still not a young lad coming through, really, but he's definitely matured from the Mitro that was at Newcastle, and the links are there. Mitro's always said he's a Geordie boy at heart. I remember he scored against the Mackhams a while ago, didn't he, for Fulham? He was winding them up, which again endeared him massively more to Newcastle fans. Now, we need a striker. There's no doubt about that at all. The recent news of Dominic Solanke being too expensive for us is quite disheartening, really. But I think given looking at those numbers and the forensics of those numbers, probably isn't necessarily a dishonest thing to say from Darren Niels already, how we're not in a position to spend 40 million quid on a striker in January. That's for damn sure. Come the summer, I think there'll be some outgoings and incomings, and we'll be playing that kind of player amortization game and getting numbers through that way, as well as having the seller and the Adidas money in. But going back to this window, the Saudi loans have not been triggered yet, and there is a few players that have been linked to the football club recently. Mitro is not a bad shout. I know some of you would be screaming, going, "No, he's a nutter. I don't want him," and everything else. But if you look at the way the players have grown up, the ones that Rafa didn't quite fancy, Ivan Toney is one. He's 100 million quid now. He's definitely off the table. But Mitro is another. Mitro was a fantastic goal scorer for Fulham when he left. I didn't think he should have left. I think I jumped on and did a video, as memory serves, saying that he was going for the money, and I thought it was terrible because he was a striker at the peak of his powers, and he could have really played in the Premier League, maybe even moved to someone like a Chelsea. Or even, Manchester United. Liverpool, he could have done a good job for, probably better than Darwin Núñez. But the thing about Mitrovic is he does have that dangerous side to him that he could just blow and pop at any minute. You remember that FA Cup tie against Manchester United where he just went and fucking meltdown and shoved the referee. So he does have that side to him, does Mitro, and I can understand why that would put people off. But his goal scoring record over in Saudi Arabia is ridiculous. He's got something like 26 and 26 all in. Everyone's talking about Ronaldo, but Mitrovic is on fire over there. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Al Hilal sitting at the top of the league, which may be an issue, for the likes of getting him or Milenkovic-Savic over to Newcastle on loan for 6 months, unless there's no danger of them being caught and the players have done enough to win a medal. Maybe they could be tempted with a 6-month loan deal over in the Premier League at a higher standard. But let us know what you guys think about Mitro's links in the comments below. We always like to hear from you. There's no question that he knows where the onion bag is. He can score goals, he can occupy defenders, he's a handful, he's aggressive. Losing Joe Linton's aggression in the middle of the park, we are going to be a bit soft. We'll see this again against Manchester City, I'm sure. Against rough teams as well, they're going to get in amongst us. We need some physicality, and having Mitro there is not a bad thing to do. Alexander Isak is all about pace, movement, skill, quick feet. Wilson can mix up a little bit, but he's all about playing that last shoulder and getting that 5 or 10 yards off the defender, to put it in the back of the net. Mitrovic can do a bit of that and a bit of the roughing up job as well, and he would be a great third option to have till the end of the season, and then maybe we go big in the summer for another centre forward that can either replace Wilson or knock Wilson down the pecking order. But yeah, these Saudi loans will be very interesting to look at as the window is ramping up, and I wouldn't be too disheartened to see Aleksander Mitrovic back in a black and white shirt. I think he's got unfinished business there. I think he'd love to come back, and I think he would do a job for us as well. But we always like to hear from you. Smash a comment in. We'll do our best to reply to you. Whatever the comment is, doesn't matter if you agree with us or not. We don't shout you out or banish you to the shadows of the channel. We don't do that. We always like engagement. Love to hear from you. And if you click subscribe, we're over 6,000 plus subs now. Loads of room for Nevermore. All free content. But if you want to give a little bit back, there is an option there to be a member for less than £2 a month. So smash whichever option suits you best. We'll be keeping an eye on this transfer window for damn sure, because if we can add one or two or three even quality additions and get some players back off the treatment table, we could have a real good go at trying to get top four towards the end of the season. Have a cracking day wherever you are, everyone. We'll see you there. Cheers, bye.